It's the Flow Friday night sports show and Northern Areas of football. Lots of goals kicked on the weekend once again. Plenty by one particular team. Graham Spud McKay would have seen a few of them sail through the big uprights, I reckon. He joins me on the line right now. Spud, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Jace. Not good viewing.
All right, if you're from Broughton, Mundura, I suppose, but down at Port Broughton, she was pretty much all one-way traffic, wasn't it?
Well, it was a lovely day down there. It was, and it always is, because the oval is actually in a bit of a basin there, and the weather was quite balmy. So even though it was sort of cold up this way.
Well, down you went, Jamestown, Peterborough to Port Broughton, and well, in the A grade, they absolutely got hold of you. There's no other way to put it than that. 32-18, 210. Jamestown, Peterborough, 139. 201-point winners, Broughton, Mundura, and Hewitt booted 10. That was W. Hewitt, of course, the goal-kicking extraordinaire. Williams going beautifully at the moment and on track to kick a big total this season. But it wasn't just William that kicked the goals as well. I think there was another Hewitt that did okay in Dylan.
Yes, I think he'd be a cousin, but that name keeps cropping up now, and the coach is a brother to William, so he's done the right thing in putting him at full forward, because he's amassed quite a few goals and sort of powered his way up to lead the goal-kicking award now.
Well, he certainly has, and he's kicked 22 goals now in the last 3 weeks, named best on ground in the last 3 games, William Hewitt, so he's absolutely on fire for Broughton Mundura, but they've got plenty of good players across the ground at the moment. They're a very good side, we know that. Jamestown, Peterborough can only muster up the 1 goal, and that brings the old adage out again. They had 1 goal in mind, Spud.
Oh, God, where'd you get that from?
Yeah, they managed to get it 139. But, hey, look, Clark, who was the goal kicker, actually, for Jamestown, Peterborough, Hall, Jackson and Farr, they tried their guts out. And, it takes courage to keep fronting up every week when you get belted up like this, but they do. They just keep fronting up Jamestown, Peterborough, so you've got to take your hats off to them.
Yes, you do. They're giving their best effort at this stage, and it's a pity they didn't have probably 4 or 5 really good players to put in amongst that, because I'm sure some of those young lads are going to be good, but they just need a little bit of support at the moment. But as long as they can hang in there for the rest of this season, well, that'll be good.
We move on. Let's talk about BMW and Orroroo. Now, Orroroo, top of the pops, going beautifully. They won this comfortably in the end, 13-14-92. BMW can only muster up 3-8-26. But really, most of the damage here, Spud, was done in the third quarter, where they kicked 5 goals 4 to no score. Outside of that, it was a pretty even contest for the most part. Yeah,
BMW, a little bit disappointing, I think, because of the fact that they had 3-4 at half time and only managed 4 points for the entire second half. So that's probably not what they'd be expecting. And, I said before, I think they've probably got a few missing through injury and that, but they're going to need to get back pretty quick, because they will, they're sort of starting to, well, they're not in the 4 at the moment. They've only won the 1 game, and that was against Jamestown, Peterborough. So they sort of need to get their act going fairly quickly.
You're going to have to shortly, that's for sure. Homsch booted another 4 for Orroroo, McCarthy 3, Digan 2, Homsch Bowman. There he is again, Bowman. Hughes, Reid and Slade named their best for BMW, singles only out of the 3 goal kickers. Kanga, they were named in their best. Brereton and Kuminik as well, along with McCullum, named in the best for BMW. So still got some work to do, the Lions.
Yes, they have, and let's hope that they can get it going and start to put a bit of pressure on some of those sides above them.
All right, the match of the round is where we'll finish, and the margin looks fairly close between these two, and it was. Crystal Brook 13-9-87, Southern Flinders 10-12-72. But let's not kid ourselves, this game was pretty much over at three-quarter time. Southern Flinders did come home with a rush, kicking 5 goals to 2 in the final term, but they were never really going to threaten to win.
No, they weren't, unfortunately, but Crystal Brook, they had a good week the previous week against Jamestown Peterborough. and like that sort of got a little bit of their system going. I said before that they got the ball in well to Daniel Hill, and Darren Shillabeer at centre half forward is playing really good footy for them. So they will sort of get better, I think, as they go. And Southern Flinders, on the other hand, well, they can come away from that game having finished it off really well, 5 goals in the last quarter. That shows that they really stuck at it and gave their best in that last quarter. So that probably doesn't augur well for this week.
No, it doesn't. Let's we'll talk about that in a minute. But Crystal Brook, their goal kickers, Hill 5, Shillabeer 3. Hill, I think now after 10 last week, 15 in 2 weeks. Shillabeer 11 in the last 2 weeks. So those two are flying. Palmer, Kirk, Millard named their best. For Southern Flinders, Smart booted 3. Amjurg Pedersen booted 2.
Yep.
I'm going to try that again. Mellington booted 2 as well. But I wanted to point out Zeke Kay here, who's been consistently in Southern Flinders' best players all year. We know the quality of their ruckman in Pearce, but Kay has been very, very good. I think named best on for Southern Flinders in their last 2 games. So he's up and going for them at the moment.
Yeah, he's a defender and plays really well in their defence, and that's good. And as you say, he has been one of their more consistent players throughout the first five games.
Yeah. All right. So that leaves us heading towards next week. Quick recap of the ladder. Of course, it's Orroroo on top, undefeated. Broughton Mundura 4-1 in second spot on the ladder. Crystal Brook up to third now with back-to-back wins. Southern Flinders round out the 4 on 2 and 3. BMW 1 and 4. And Jamestown Peterborough yet to break their duck. 5-4, 3-2, 1-0. Just making it nice and easy for the pundits to keep track of what's going on.
That's right. Well, like it's set up pretty well, I think, now. And after each team having played one game against the other side, now we start to sort of get a little bit of consistency, hopefully, in the season. And we'll just see what some of these other sides down the bottom, whether they can sort of put some pressure on those other sides above them.
Spot on. And I think we've got a good round ahead of us here. Let's have a look through it. First of all, at Laura, let's start there with Southern Flinders. They will host Jamestown Peterborough. Well, a bit of a rivalry here between the two. And look, hopefully Jamestown Peterborough can find some goals this week. Southern Flinders found some in their last quarter of footy, so they'll be up and going. Yeah,
they will be. And like their coach, Nick Pearce, he leads the ruck, and he'll be up against probably the young Dan Porter for Jamestown Peterborough, and Simon Jackson, who's got the experience and probably a bit of body strength to be able to compete against Nick. But it won't be easy, and I would think Southern Flinders will get first use of the ball, and then, of course, Scotty Galbraith has been pretty good in the on-board brigade for them. We've already mentioned Zeke Kay in defence, and Scott Coombe and Jackson Bruce have been reasonably consistent for Southern Flinders. I think Southern Flinders probably will win this, and they'll win it fairly easily.
At Crystal Brook, the home side, the Chooks, they take on BMW. They played last time in round 1. I think Crystal Brook got home by just 3 points in that one, so might expect a repeat, another close one perhaps between these two.
Probably not going to be much in it, and you'd have to think that Crystal Brook on their home ground this time will be a little bit stronger than what they were when they went up to Wilmington. Ethan Palmer in the ruck has been playing, rucking very well for Crystal Brook the last couple of weeks, so they will hope that he can sort of get his hands to the ball first and give Joel Millard, Braden Kirk, Luke Capitola, their on-ballers, first use of it. And then, of course, they've got the firepower up forward if they can get it through there to Darren Shillabeer and Daniel Hill. BMW, on the other hand, we sort of see them perhaps relying a little bit too much on their coach, Alec Kanga, and his brother Lucas. Nick McCullum, we know, is good to kick goals, but they will have to get the ball up to him in some sort of consistency in order to let him be able to make an impact on the scoreboard. But I reckon Crystal Brook will win it, but probably not a lot in it.
It should be a beauty, that one. And, the top of the table clash is what it's all about this week, really, isn't it? Broughton Mundura taking on Orroroo. Of course, they played each other in round 1, and that was a thriller. It went down to the last couple of minutes there, and It was only a single goal in it. That one, I believe, was Broughton Mundura hosting that at Port Broughton. This time around, Orroroo, they will host the game. They won away last time. Can Broughton Mundura get some revenge?
I think I've been on here before and said you never tip against Orroroo at Orroroo, so I'm not about to create a precedent here. But Orroroo are travelling pretty well. Broughton Mundura, probably Matty Hayes, I reckon, comes back this week after a couple of weeks off, so that'll improve their midfield. But they are up against Matt Delminico, John Nicholas, Darren Hughes, and so therefore I just think that Orroroo's all-round strength is a bit much at this stage, but I like Broughton Mundura. The Calisphere is one that really impresses me. He's only a youngster there coming in, and he looks a really good young quality player. Tommy Whelan, we haven't seen him in the best players, but I reckon he'll have a bit of work to do up there at Orroroo. The reason he hasn't been in the best players is that the ball didn't get down there last week, so obviously he couldn't be in their best players. But should be a really good game. But for me, I think Orroroo will just get over it.
Interesting you mentioned Tommy Whelan there. Last time these two played, he was named best for Broughton Mundura, so you're right. I think he'll get some work to do. And Aidan Lee absolutely starred, was probably the difference between the two sides when last they played. Did the job, named best on ground, and the biggest goal kicker on the ground for him, Bo Man. I think that man looms pretty large as well. They need to keep an eye on him. Yes,
that's exactly right. Of course, Patrick McCarthy plays centre-half forward for them too, and he's a real quality player. So Orroroo are serviced pretty well. We don't mention their backline very much, but they've got a really solid backline with Damien Ellery at full-back, and then Declan Duffy across a half-back flank for them. You don't hear those players mentioned very much, but they are a really solid performance for Orroroo in that backline, and I think that's one of their strengths. So it'll be really good to see how that pans out with the form of William Hewitt up forward. So that will be something worth watching to go along and see.
Indeed. Should be a cracking round of football, this one in Northern Areas footy. Looking forward to seeing the results come through. Spud, looking forward to some rain, hopefully, for you guys up there around that Jamestown area. Any on the way or what?
No, they were promising. They weren't really promising, but there was hint of something to happen around about Monday or Tuesday there, but that seems to have gone off the boil a little bit now. So, unfortunately, I think there's not a lot in it for us, but there's no doubt, I reckon, down country they'll get a little bit. So that'll be something to keep an eye out for, as well as these results coming in on Saturday night. Well, you better get to the footy then. Enjoy the good weather, I guess. If it's not going to rain, you might as well enjoy the footy. Good luck to everyone having a kick in Northern Areas footy, mate, and we'll catch up with you again next week. Good on you, Jace. Thanks. Catch you next week.